We are a land of honor.
No, how many governors or ministers have resigned from the office, or how many governors or presidents in Nigeria in the history of this nation have accepted defeat and made that kind of statement?
Yes, if we do limit it to governors, certainly it will be unprecedented in this case. But I ran an election under Kayode Fayemi in 2011. And by 10 p.m., I had called Olu Adetumbi, the guy who defeated me. And I said, Olu, go and enjoy your 4 years. I'm not going to court. I accept defeat because I perceived that whatever they did, it was my failure not being able to match them to win that election. So it was reported by the press. But I figure that, yes, of course, a senatorial election is not the same thing as a governorship one.
Absolutely.
So that's why I said, without taking anything away from his action, but we should not say it's unprecedented.
It is unprecedented. Again,
for governors. It's unprecedented for governors. That is true. It's unprecedented for governors.
Yes.
But as an Ekiti thing, we are very honorable people. Okay. And he has displayed that. I'm not taking anything away from that. But I started that. And it was reported in the papers. So,
okay, that's being said.
I just want to correct that impression. Now, going to the election of 21st Saturday last week. I was there Wednesday preceding that, and I told you what the outcome of the election was going to be. I said, Kayode Fayemi will not win his local government because I was running in that local government for Fayose, holding forth there. And, of course, it was only the APC people that did not see the handwriting on the wall. He had lost this election a year ago. And that is the situation that what we are planning and looking at is the fact that we do not do governance by the newspapers or by propaganda. It's the people. And once the people speak, you will find out that, hey, the voice of the people, because it's a government, or the people by the people, and for the people. So that is democracy. Our people went to the polls, just like my brother here, I just said, the percentage of voters in that election is unprecedented, as attested to by INEC.
Pardon me for butting in. Yes. Pardon me for butting in. You said that Fayemi lost the election 1 year ago.
Oh, yes.
Why would you say that?
Yeah, because he had this policy that affected the civil servants, that affected the teachers, and those ones, they constitute the majority of opinion holders in any election. Okay. And of course, we looked at that. And
was the policy against those people?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. First of all, he said the principals of the schools should take some tests, and they removed some of them. So the other teachers.
Is that a bad thing?
Exactly. Is that a bad thing?
No. What would
in a state where education is important, for a governor to want... Sorry, if I may finish the question. Yes. For a governor to want to see to it that only the best principals and the best teachers teach in a state where education is extremely critical.
On the agenda.
Now, let me put it to you this way. That policy by itself, saying that the best, if that is what he wanted to achieve, is not a bad policy. Okay. But for you, if I were in his shoes, I would have asked for a training program for the teachers, for the principals, for the best to come out of them. If you are weak, we say, okay, this is what we plan for you. You have not measured up to this standard. We want you to train, then you bring in trainers to train them. These are teachers, trainers, retrainers. Now, if you do that, people will not feel threatened that their job would actually be on the line.
But because, if you have a person who is absolutely in the wrong place at the wrong time, who probably will never make the mark to be a principal, but they've been there for years, so they've been promoted, and they just don't match. It's a round peg in a square hole.
Now, Senator, recall the issue of the Edo State governor and one of his teachers who was told to read something in front of a camera.
I don't think people in Ekiti are that bad. So please.
It turned to one Solomon.
I saw that example. It was a terrible one. So, but we didn't have that caliber in Ekiti. So when you look at it,
so you tell us.
Oh yes. Because if that were the case, for us, I would not condone a person who cannot read or write to be a teacher.
Okay.
We're
not discussing that policy on this occasion, so I'll move very quickly to Congressman. What's your experience of the election? Because the two gentlemen on this side have said it's free, fair, and wonderful, amazing time they had. What's your experience?
Well, thank you very much. It feels good to be here again. You know what the Yoruba say? When the elephant dies, you see all manner of knives. Okay? All manner of knives. In the past 1 week, I have seen and read all manner of political analysis and pundits say all kinds of stuff. But let me start from the fact that Fayemi considered victory and all of that. I will try as much as possible to say that I have come this morning to try as much as possible, put words out there. One, for history and bookmakers, to know that there are different perspectives. Yes, the perspective that my friend Yemiola Inka has been my friend for 40 years. I've known him for 40 years. We're in high school together, okay? And I know Uncle Ayo as well, okay? He's my senator. He was my senator. We have an obligation. It is statutory that we must also let the chroniclers of history also know that all that glitters is not gold. That's number one. Number two, election is not a destination. It is a process. Time was when we had people snatching ballot boxes, stuffing and all of those things. That was then. But today, of course, things have moved beyond that. I came to this station this morning, ostensibly to be able to let Nigerians see that election that they are celebrating. And I'm not here to come and bemoan my faith or something like that. I am here standing on sure grounds with evidence. Unfortunately, channels can't run that. But it's okay. At some point, we'll run it. Before that day, 3 days to that election, Chairman Jaja was in Ekiti. I next stakeholders again forum. I have on tape what he said, and I brought it. IGP was in Ekiti. I have on tape what he said, and I brought it. Unfortunately, we can't use it. All of those things culminated in what you saw on 21st. And that was why I said election is not a destination. That Uncle Ayo will say, oh, Fayemi lost election 1 year ago. The question to ask will be, how? He mentioned teachers. It's not time to campaign anymore. But the truth of the matter is that no government in Ekiti, no government since the creation of Ekiti had been as nice and as kind to teachers like Fayemi. None. I challenge him to put one. No government had promoted teachers 3 times in 3 years like Fayemi did. Pecuniary allowance, 27.5. Rural allowances, core subjects allowances, it took Fayemi. You see, I feel also that if we let this trending go on, one of 2 things will happen. You will leave people disillusioned. 2, you will cut an image that is not totally Ekiti. You cut it and slam it on us. As saying, oh, people who do not know what they want, we're dumb and all of that. We don't appreciate people. And we have a history. The same Ekiti, the extraction that brought Adekunle Fajiri, that defended Anirosi on integrity, is the one that will not appreciate what Kayode Fayemi has done in 3.5 years. Everything on step-by-step basis. I challenge anybody, including Uncle Ayo Fayose, who is, well, I'm very well acquainted with him. I challenge us to match it one by one and see whether Fayemi lost that election on the basis of his policies and all of that. We know there's no government that can be perfect. But if you score Fayemi on the basis of what he has done with the mandate of people in 3.5 years, you would know that he didn't lose that election on the basis of that. He lost that election on the basis of extraneous factors, which I wanted to prove. And at the appropriate time, I'm going to go ahead and at some point put that word out and let